Well, my friends, our farmers are in full-blown crisis, and it's not because of Mother Nature. It's because of Donald Trump's reckless tariffs that have torched decades of trade relationships and handed America's agriculture future to China and Brazil on a silver platter. 12,000 tons of pork canceled. Soybean exports collapsed, and family farms are now shutting down. And it doesn't stop there. Longshoremen, truckers, warehouse workers, entire communities are being gutted. This didn't have to happen, but Trump wanted a trade war. He wanted headlines, and now our farmers are paying the price while China laughs its way to the Brazilian soybean fields.
So somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. So I'm taking on China. I'm taking on China on trade. And you know what? We're winning.
You voted for the president?
Yes, I did.
And do you support these policies which might be hurting farmers like you?
Right now, we're the ones that are taking the hit.
I think he's sort of backstabbing the main people who got him into office in the Midwest, and he just left us down.
This is awful discouraging. You know, we do our very best to grow a good crop to feed the world, and then we can't hardly give it away.
Bachmann blames President Trump for the soybean crisis, even though he voted for him. He says new tariffs are forcing China to buy soybeans from Argentina and Brazil. Now many Iowa farmers face selling this year's crop at a huge loss.
The way things are, there won't be a farmer left in 5 years if things don't change, because our expenses are so high, and the crop is worth less than it was 30 years ago.
Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September's upon us, harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China for this current crop that's about to come out of the field.
This is what happens when a bunch of entitled, MAGA voting Americans stand on a box and push isolationist policy, like tariffs. You guys said that all the other countries will be affected by these tariffs, but we as Americans are untouchable. Let's isolate America. We don't need any other countries. Let's put America first. Well, the soybean farmers who overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump fucked around and found out that that just isn't the case for them. Most of their soybean crops are bought by China because America does not consume that many soybeans. They rely on China to buy the soybean crops. China earlier this year came out and said, ew, we don't want your soybean crops. You can sell them to someone else because we're going to go to Argentina to get ours. That's exactly what they did. And like you just heard the soybean farmer say, they have nothing on the books. They have nobody to buy their soybean crops, and they are SOL for it. I don't know, maybe you should have put America first and grown corn. You should have switched to corn, I guess. You chose to grow soybeans, which just quite simply, I guess, is not putting America first. You should have chosen potatoes. If you wanted to go full isolationist and vote for a man who wanted to isolate us and like throw away our relationships with foreign nations, that's what you chose. And now no one wants to buy your crops that you grew knowing that they needed to be exported, yet voted for Trump anyways. Classic.
The biggest lesson from this story is simple. Never vote with anger, vote with knowledge. Many MAGA farmers, they believe tariffs would punish China, but today they are the ones carrying the big losses. They supported mass deportation without thinking who was going to work on their farms. Like, listen to this farmer right here. He doesn't have any clue of what he's talking about. Listen.
American workers and American taxpayers have been taken advantage of for multi-generation, for decades. And it's time for somebody to stand up and put us first and put the country first and do what's best for the country, not what's best for the politicians.
Even if you as a farmer suffer.
That's right.
I mean, some people would hear that and be quite surprised that you're prepared to put your livelihood, your family's livelihood, on the line for the sake of politics.
Well, that's my duty as for being the head of my household. I've got to do what I got to do, what's going to be better for the future, better for the kids. It's not about today, it's about the long term. The long game is where the rewards are going to be.
But don't the price of tariffs and what happens in commodity markets like soybean, doesn't that affect you in the short term and affect your ability to provide for your family?
Look, tariffs will probably have a detrimental effect on soybean price in the near future. In the long term, it'll probably work out. I'm a farmer. I deal with bad weather, I deal with dry weather. I deal with torrential rains. We deal with hurricanes. What's a tariff going to do? You know, I got to raise a crop. If I was worried, I'd stay home and not raise a crop. If I was worried about it, I still got to get over there and raise my crop to get the price. If you don't get the yield, it doesn't make any difference. You know, I got to deal with all these other things. What's a tariff? I can't control that, so it is what it is.
So I have some history with an empathy for farmers because I watch how hard they work to get this crop in the ground and its timing and the rains in spring, whether they come or not. One year it was too wet, the next year it's too dry. It's tough being a farmer. But what's even tougher is growing all this crops and having all the equipment and debt you need to be a farmer and then be cast aside by things like tariffs. And that's what's so confusing to me. The people out here in farm country, a lot of them have Trump signs in their lawns. There's a huge one up the road here. When I'm cycling over the summer, I see them all over the place. Probably see 10 to 20 in a 40-mile ride. And that indicates to us that farmers are big into Republican values. And that's the other side of the coin here. You know, what is the ideology driving people to want to be Republican? Well, over the centuries, you know, that we've had farming here in the United States, there's been a lot of deception by conservatives. You know, the Dust Bowl came about because people were told to go on out, God will help you, and rain will follow the plow. And that was a lie. And what we wound up with is agricultural conditions that basically turned the entire Great Plains to dust.
The tariffs are working. The tariffs are working. If you're 50 years old and have a 401k, you've lost about $74,000 in the past 3 months. Does that feel like it's working? No, I've lost more than that.
Let's talk about these dumbass farmers really quick. Because, yeah, the majority of them voted for this dumbass in the White House. Last year, China bought 985 million bushels of soybeans. Through May, about 218 million. Nothing's been shipped to them since. Why? Well, I don't know, Bob. I just don't understand. He said he was so smart. He said no tariffs and no tax on tips because I'm a dumbass and I got concepts of a brain. Oh, yeah, Bob. What he said was really good. You racist fucks just didn't want the black lady. Because now what's happened is, because of our tariffs, this brilliant guy with 6 bankruptcies and 3 failed marriages and 2 failed presidencies, they're buying everything from Argentina. So now what do they want? So they voted for this. Now they're not selling their product. They got nowhere to sell it. Now they want us to bail them out with about $14 billion. And the dumbass of the White House? Well, many people told me, lots of people told me, they were just looking around and they were under a Post-it note and they go, oh, look, here's a couple $2 billion from the tariffs. It was unbelievable, Mr. President. I was just walking around taking a walk and I just found it on a Post-it note. I didn't know where to find it. These dumbasses voted for this because it's like flies attracted to dog shit. They're so stupid. They just don't care. And you don't care. Don't tell me that you're a good person, but you voted for the guy that caused an insurrection and sat on his fat ass for 3 hours. Who was found liable for abusing E. Jean Carroll. 13-year-old Katie Johnson went into little girls' locker rooms, grabbed them by the PUSSY, making fun of disabled people, asking for the execution of the Central Park Five. So fuck off with your thoughts and prayers, Jesus, God bullshit. I'm sick of it. Jesus is as foreign to you as a fucking working brain, okay? You don't know God. You've weaponized religion to maintain the white patriarchy. That's all this is about. And if you would have listened to the other black woman, Michelle Obama, she said, if you don't think the darkness will come to your front door, Billy Bob, you're sadly mistaken. And now it's knocking on your door and you're like, I don't know what's happening. He's a great businessman. Now you've added $8 trillion to the debt. I just can't imagine. Why not? Would you please bail us out, Daddy?
Me, the most beautiful word, and I've said this for the last couple of weeks, in the dictionary today, and is the word tariff. It's more beautiful than love. It's more beautiful than anything. It's the most beautiful word. This country can become rich with the proper use of tariffs. It'll
Did
keep
you just float out the idea of getting rid of income taxes and replacing it with tariffs?
Well, okay.
Were you serious about that?
China is fully prepared to fight to the very end because the world is big enough that the United States is not the totality of the market in the world. So if the United States wants to go in that direction of completely shutting itself out of the China market, be my guest.
Yeah, and China will lose the US market, which, as I've said, is 15%.
We don't care. We don't care. China has been here for 5,000 years. Most of the time, there was no United States, and we survived. And if the United States wants to bully China, we will deal with the situation without the United States. And we expect to survive for another 5,000 years.
When you hear Donald Trump say China wants a deal, it just doesn't know how to go about it. They're proud people. J.D. Vance talks about Chinese peasants. What do you make of their conduct in this respect?
If J.D. Vance thinks that he's dealing with the peasants in China, and I'm proud to be a descendant of the peasants, most of us are descendants of the peasants anyway, that's our tradition. We are farmers before. But now we are one of the leading industrialized economies in the world. So I'm sorry, J.D. Vance doesn't know what he's talking about. And therefore, I don't think there will be China-US dialogue unless the United States changes its attitude towards China. Deal with China as it is, show respect to China, show respect to the Chinese people, and don't try to impose your prejudice and biased view about China or about the rest of the world.
He said China has been here for 5,000 years and they plan on being here for another 5,000 years. And China doesn't look like they're going to want to back down at all. It was even said that President Donald Trump wanted to request a phone call from the president of China. And instead of a phone call, he didn't get none. They ended up coming back with 125% tariffs and vowing to fight until the very end. Do you see any relief from either side? Do you see President Donald Trump backing down? I mean, he's already taken some heat from putting the tariffs that he implemented on pause for 90 days after the markets went the way they did. They seem like they're determined, but it's all that's going to happen. It's going to affect the American people as well, Republicans and Democrats.
Has anybody figured out where our bumper crop of soybeans are going? Yeah, because this administration has messed things up so badly with China. China goes, yeah, keep your soybeans, we're good. The biggest buyer in the world of soybeans has said, don't worry about it, we're good. So why doesn't somebody tell me or tell the U.S. farmers that are bringing in all these soybeans, tell them what they're going to do with them? Somebody needs to come up with a plan and really, really quick. Because guess what? China said, thanks, but no thanks. So where are all these soybeans going to go? Does anybody know? Does anybody care? Because I'm sure the farmers are freaking out right now because they have a bumper crop of soybeans that, nobody wants. At least China doesn't want. And China's the biggest, largest buyer. I mean, we could be selling the small countries, but it's not going to put a dent in the soybeans that we have. Is anyone going to start talking about this, or are we just going to pretend it's not a massive, huge problem because of this administration?
I think many people don't understand that elections have consequences. Government policies have consequences. Trump thought that China was going to surrender, but international trade doesn't work like that. Countries always have alternatives, and that's how China went to Brazil and Argentina. And American farmers, they lost customers whom they had built for decades. And once the supply chain is gone, it may take decades or even years to return. Farmers are also dealing with rising costs like high fertilizer cost and high fuel because of the current war with Iran. And this is what happens when people vote to punish other people without thinking about their livelihood. They also supported mass deportation because they believed immigrants were America's biggest problem. But the same immigrants, they are the ones who keep their farms running. You see, racism is very expensive. Politics should never be about revenge or even punishing others. Before supporting any policy, ask what a policy will do to your business, to your family, and to your own paycheck. Politics should be about making your life better for yourself, for your family, for your community, and your country. Blind loyalty is so dangerous. Every politician makes promises during the campaign, but responsible citizens, they don't simply believe anything they say. They ask questions and they verify facts. They listen to experts with different opinions, They look at history. Supporting a politician should never mean switching off your ability to think. Leaders work for the people and not the other way around. People should never become servants of the politicians. And another thing, trade is not about winning or even losing. Trade is about relationship, trust, and long-term partnership. Breaking those relationships can have consequences that can last for years. But all these outcomes, they were predicted. Economists warned. Kamala Harris warned. Many more people warned about the tariffs and what it was going to do for the American people. But all these warnings, they were dismissed. And that's why critical thinking is very important because politicians, they come and go. Elections, they come and go. But the consequences of their policies may last with us for years or even decades. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.